Here's the thing. I'm going to take you through a little bit around what values are. So I mentioned briefly that our values determine which way we go. All right. So if we have a set of values that are currently in place and we don't know anything about them, we don't know what they are, or they're coming from a fear-based place, or they're coming from a role that had, that was being driven from a fear-based place, then our values are going to be taking us down a path that maybe isn't aligned to what we're wanting to create. And so once we get to this crossroads, if we don't understand our values, that's where it becomes like, ooh, and there's so much uncertainty. So our values, once we know them and we understand them, then we know, oh, it's this way for sure. This is where I'm going. This is where I'm at. And so it becomes instant, because we're already doing it. We already know where we want to be. So it eliminates the trying to decide what we need to do. Our values give us the direction, and then they contribute to the drive that we have behind what we're doing. Now, I want to take you through, right? I want to take you through some examples, and then also some of the different types and the distinctions. So first things first is that a value, okay, I'm going to talk to you first about the first one. So vehicle value versus emotional value. So when you traditionally you could think of what do I value? What's important to you? And people can either answer by saying a vehicle value or an emotional value. Now, during this integration, it's important for us to focus on integrating emotional values, okay? Now, here's why. A vehicle value is the thing that gets you to the emotional state or the emotional value that you're wanting to experience. Let me give you an example. If someone values building a business, say value business, right? That is a vehicle. Why? Because what are you building the business to feel? What are you building the business to ultimately experience and have? And if we chunk that up, then it looks like, okay, I'm building the business because I want, maybe a legacy or success or fulfillment, right? And what's the highest purpose of that? Well, I want to feel worthy, or, peace, calm, right? So it's less about the business is just the vehicle that gets us to the emotional state that we ultimately want to experience on a consistent basis, right? That's what a value is. It's an emotional state that we want to experience all the time. So whenever you think of, or maybe you're using this in your own business, but whenever you think of a value, always think of it as what is the emotional state that they're wanting to achieve. So if someone gives an emotional value, or if you're doing these exercises and you think of a vehicle value, what's that giving you emotionally? That's the difference, okay? So the next one is when we look at values, okay, so this is all priming you and setting you up for how to think about values, because when we get together one-on-one, these are the kinds of things that we're going to have a look at. We're going to have a look if your current values are vehicle, they're emotional, if they're if they're aspiring or actual. Now let me break this one down. So the first things first that we need is to be able to change something, is to understand its current state. So the mission when you go away is to have a look at your current values. And the reason why I want to take you through aspiring or actual is because sometimes people can have a look at their current values and be actually pulling out values that they aspire to have in the future. So the best way to think about current values is, am I actually living that value right now? Based on my results, my experience, everything that's happening around me, is that an actual value that I have right now, or is it something I want? So let me give you an example. Somebody might tell me that here's one, that their value is around health, feeling healthy. And but yet through our coaching sessions or through conversations, they're telling me how burnt out they are all the time. So it's like, Cool. This can also be a conflict as well, which I'll take you through as again. But is that, now they might say yes, but I'm starting to feel healthy. I'm starting to, you know, do a lot more towards my health. It's like, cool, but for the last 10 years, have you been actually living a value of health, or is that something that you're still working on and aspiring to? If it's aspiring, awesome. Keep that in the back of your mind for when we do the integration. But what we need to know right now is the actual values that have been in place for the last however many years you can remember that have contributed to the results and the current experiences you're having right now. So that's the difference between aspiring and actual. The next contrast I want to take you through is moving is a value, or thinking about if a value moves you away from fear or if it moves you towards love. Let me give you an example on that. Somebody may tell me that they value respect. It's a very common one. And respect, let me give it to you in a way you understand. Respect is about, yes, connection, but you can hear in it. So if someone says to me, okay, I have a high value of respect, what they're saying is that they need respect to occur in a relationship in order for it to function. What happens if there is no respect? Well, it means that they don't respect me, or they might be attacking me, or, you know, it's got this, I need respect in place so that I don't experience disrespect, or so that I don't experience being hurt. So there's I've got this here so I don't experience. Whereas having a towards love approach with, or having a value that's moving towards love is like connection, okay? So valuing connection to be able to get closer, to be able to open up, to be able to show, to be able to be vulnerable. It's got so many more moving towards properties towards it, and you can hear this in the language. And this is what I'm going to be helping you go through to establish, you know, are your current values moving away from fear, or are they towards love, and should we keep them or should we change them? Cool. So just thought I'd give you that background. The next piece I want to take you through is benchmarks, similar to contrast, but benchmarks of how you want to look at your values. So similar to actual versus expiring, the benchmark of, okay, if you're doing this activity and you're writing out your current values, you want to be thinking, all right, this is how I know it's a benchmark of, all right, this is what I'm living right now, honestly, because it's a value that's actually in place right now, right? So it's not aspiring, it's actually in place, it's contributed to all these results. And also, the other one is that you know that it's a value that you're living right now, and it's that benchmark because it's conflict free. What do I mean by that? Again, with the example around health. If someone comes to me and says, okay, Jade, one of my current values is health, but again, I know, and they've been telling you about how burnt out they feel, they've been to hospital, you know, they're just feeling overwhelmed all the time. It's like, cool, so if you've got a value of health, but this is actually happening in your experience, then there's a conflict somewhere, and it, you know, it doesn't make sense. So it's either, you know, which one is it? It's either that you're not, maybe you're valuing something else, and we explore that. So just keep that in mind for when you're noting down your current values. Now,